Very welcome, everybody, to a new episode of Voices of Harmonia. Uh, Today we have with us a very special guest. I think he's living in Bosnia, but maybe in other places in the world, I don't know. But his name is Dr. Sam Osmanagić, and he's very famous for the Bosnian pyramids, but he has actually done much more research under the years than only in Bosnia and the pyramids. And I would call him a researcher, scientist, innovator, inspirator, um, maybe more. You are a businessman. You like packaging history with tourism, and creating spiritual places. Okay, would you like to say something about yourself?
Yes, first of all, thank you for inviting me to talk with you. I'm very glad. You see, every one of us has a purpose in the life, and I had really special mission. I realized that after a few decades of researching pyramids around the world, I was brought to Bosnia, my home country, and even though the reason was something else, to visit a local museum, I thought this enormous hill, which everybody called natural because it was covered in forest. But I was looking at the geometry. It showed me four sides, four triangular faces, perfect orientation. And this journey started 20 years ago of the Bosnian pyramid discoveries. And like you said, I'm best known for the discovery of Bosnian Valley of the Pyramids, even though for more than 4 decades I've been researching pyramids around the world, concluding that almost everything they teach us about the ancient history is wrong. They are telling us that the pyramids are built in Egypt and Mexico, and they are built on all 6 continents. They are telling us that the Egyptian pyramids were tombs for the pharaohs. And according to Wikipedia, there are 118 pyramids in Egypt. I have personally investigated and visited 155 no mummies in the pyramids. So I realized that the history is false. So I started writing, and right now I'm at number 21 books translated into 17 languages. Also writing scientific articles that's been published in the international scientific journals, doing a lot of lectures around the world, and running this wonderful project of the Bosnian pyramids. And you were right, it's not only the archaeology, it's science and energy aspect and healing aspect and spiritual aspect. And we established the most beautiful park in Europe. So it has become the cultural oasis and sport oasis. And it's about the new concept of future. So I'm really blessed that in this lifetime, I've been running such a wonderful project. So this is who I am.
Okay. Uh, what when you started this, what was your inspiration, from the start? What drives you? Because you were a scientist, and you might knew that you were on the edge of the unknown. So what inspired you?
The question is when the inspiration started. And when I look
Yes.
back, what I can see when I was in my teenage age and in my 20s, I was reading a lot. At that time, without the internet, we had to read books. And I was reading a lot of books from different fields. The history was kind of most appealing to me because I could realize that, what they are giving us and explaining us and describing is mostly wrong. So I started traveling around the planet from Peru and Bolivia and China, Indonesia, Australia, Egypt, Sudan, America, Europe. And then I started writing. And when I was ready, after 20, 25 years of research, I came back. At that time, I lived in Houston, Texas. Came back to my home country of Bosnia. And then I saw this beautiful pyramid covered in forest. Before that, nobody knew that it was an artificial structure. And I know that this discovery was so big, first because of the size, Now we know that the Bosnian Pyramid of the Sun is 368 meters versus Great Pyramid of Egypt, which is 146. So this one is 2.5 times taller, much, much older. And then when you ask me what drives me then and today, when I see that we are in such a global important project, we change the history. But with that, we really change the global consciousness. So it's such important task that I left Houston, sold my business, I came here, now I live in Visoko, in central Bosnia, and I run this project 24 hours a day, and I'm the most blessed and happiest man alive.
Very good to hear. I visited Bosnian pyramids, and I would say when I was in the Ravne, in the tunnels, Ravne tunnels, I felt this, tickling. It was very, it was starting almost suddenly, Can you tell us a little bit about it's not magic, but the science behind this, in the tunnels?
Yes. Now, in the last 20 years, this is what we've discovered. 6 pyramids, Sun, Moon, Dragon, Earth, Love, the 6th pyramid. 2 tumuli, one tumulus in Vratnica, another one in Guinea. These are, in archaeology, conical artificial hills, and huge network of underground tunnels. So far, we have discovered 7 entrances to prehistorical tunnels. The one which is best known, of course, is the Ravne tunnels. So far, we have cleared 2.6 kilometers of existing prehistorical tunnels. And, well, you are right. It is a kind of magic, First, it is sensational discovery in the world of archaeology. When in Mexico or in Egypt, they discover 50 meters of prehistorical tunnels, that's the world's sensation. We have 2.6 kilometers. Plus, we have 6 more entrances, Ravne 2, 3, 4, 5, 6 KTK tunnels. It is not only the archaeological discovery, which is a huge, but once we started measuring energy properties in the tunnels, we were amazed. There is a combination of 10 energy properties. The first 5 is the absence of all harmful radiations. Right now, you and I at our homes, we are exposed to the cosmic radiations. Some of them are harmful, attacking our body. Our body cells are fighting the enemies. And then in the tunnels, 20 meters below the ground, no harmful cosmic radiations, no natural radioactivity. We measure that using Geiger-Miller counter. No geopathogenic radiations, no signal for the mobile phones, which is very bad for us. No signal for the Wi-Fi. And when we add 5 more measurable energy properties, the best frequency of electromagnetic field, 28 kilohertz, the best frequency of the ultrasound, 28 kilohertz also, that's the levitation frequency. Number 8, extremely low frequency of 7.83 hertz. In science, it is called the original Schumann resonance. Number 9, the highest level of orgon or life or prana energy. And number 10, the highest concentration of beneficial negative ions in the world. You put those 10 elements together, you are getting the safest and the healthiest place on the planet. In the last 15, 20 years, we have received hundreds upon hundreds of healing testimonials. That's one aspect of the tunnels, because the process of regeneration starts. And then we have received many testimonials which are more on spiritual end. People go inside, they relax, they meditate, they feel different. They start thinking, hey, this life is not only the materialistic dimension, but spiritual also. People go the first time, they feel how they can breathe so well. People with a high blood pressure, it gets normalized. People with a high glucose in the blood, it drops few points. People with the pains, they are gone. Sometimes people feel different sensations, and you just mentioned one of them. You feel tingling in your fingers, especially when you're around those big blocks, ceramic blocks, which is special story because how they are made or brought inside, they are multi-ton blocks. So people experience it individually, differently, but something odd, strange, and very positive is happening in the tunnels. And we have noticed the more positive the person, better things will be happening to them.
Where it was a great experience. Okay, I saw when I was walking in the tunnels, I saw a closed area. It was a crystal clear stream, but we couldn't enter there. What is your plans to get the tourists or the visitors further in, and how far are you into the underground more than the tourists can visit?
Two things. First one is the water that you mentioned. We have discovered 5 tunnels with the water. You know, out of 100% of the visitors, if only 1% is ill-intentioned, they are going to contaminate that water. And we have researched the water a great deal and compare it to our city water. Our city water, medical authorities are saying is healthy because there are no viruses, bacteria, fungi, no microbes. Yes, city water is treated with the chlorine, which is a poison. In some countries, they add fluoride, which is a poison. The water going through metal pipes melts heavy metals. This is what we drink. Coming in our kitchen, the plastic pipes melts plastic, and microplastic has become the leading cause of the cancers. So the water that we drink, the city water or bottled water, is energetically dead. And the water from the tunnels, when you went first time inside with the guide, probably they showed you that nice poster which shows the molecular structure of the Ravne tunnel water. It's hexagonal. So Dr. Masaru Emoto, late Professor Emoto, received our samples of city water and tunnel water. He realized city water has broken, deformed structure, and tunnel water, beautiful hexagonal. Why hexagon? It's the most powerful geometrical shape when it comes to the energy, with the most wonderful crystal-like structure. So this is the water that vibrates high, and we have to protect it. Imagine that 1 out of 1,000 people bring some type of poison or something, and they contaminate this water. So we have to be careful. People can see it between the, plywood, the pieces of wood, but we don't want them to go there or to walk there with the dirty shoes, or, people got different ideas. So we have to think about the future generations. So this is the water. The second question was about the tunnels. Usually the tourists go through the touristic route, which is about 800 meters. But then when they go second or third time, they buy different tickets. It's called meditation tickets. It's just €2.50. And they are free to explore different areas of the tunnel. So like until this year, it was 1.5 kilometers. And right now we are working on more sections. Once we have them ready, once we put the wooden support, so this is, by the law, we have to make sure that it is safe for the visitors, then all 2.5 kilometers will be open, and this is going to happen next month in June. So no secrets. Sometimes if there are some safety concerns, we have to replace the wooden support, or we have to clean, or something similar, then we temporarily closed one section, but in general, starting this June, it will be open for everyone.
Very good. Let's see. About the mystical information, let's go a little bit into that. Who lived there in the past, according to you?
Okay, so this is one of the questions that we have in archaeology. We have 5 questions. The first one is what? What is this? Well, we know this is the Bosnian Pyramid complex with the biggest pyramids above the ground and the largest, the most extensive underground tunnel network. The second question is who? Right now, I can tell you it was more advanced civilization who built the huge complex. because if they were able to move and maneuver with tens of millions of tons of material to build those pyramids, they were very advanced. If they were able to make a concrete that covers the Bosnian Pyramid, which is better quality than what we can make today, they were very advanced. If they were able to position pyramid in that way that those four sides perfectly match cardinal points better than what we can do today, they were more advanced. But finally, if they were able to manipulate with the energies, pyramid generating energy beam going through the top, 28 kilohertz, these are so-called Teslas, scalar waves, that travels quicker than the speed of light, they were able to make the communication machine. And then in the tunnels, we can see the healing testimonials. So they made a place where you can heal your body. And this is the most precious thing for us, healing aspect. And then if they were able to improve the molecular structure of the water and the food and the immunity, obviously they were very, very advanced civilization. The third question in archaeology, besides what and who, is when. We have done number of radiocarbon dating, luminescence analysis, and uranium thorium analysis. We have concluded that the Bosnian Pyramid of the Sun was built, according to the radiocarbon dates, 29,200 years ago, plus minus 400 years. But the calibrated date or calendar age is a little bit more, it's about 33,800 years, and then it completely changes the way our history teachers are telling us about the history. The next question is how? How they were able to move and transport this material, how they were able to make the best quality concrete, how did they know to maneuver with very specific frequencies? It's still open. And the fifth question is why, and I have partially answered that. Pyramids were not built for one dead body, king or the pharaohs. Pyramids were built to serve communities and to last almost forever. Communication, healing, water, food, immunity, spiritual senses. So what we bring to the world of science and to the pyramid science is complete change of the narrative. And that's why so many established archaeologists, historians, geologists do not like us, attacking us wherever they can.
Okay. Would you say that the pyramids are a broad network around the world, and would you say that pyramids transmit some energetical information? Is that a possibility? It's like a radio station, but actually not just information, but energy.
So, two questions. First, you mentioned the network around the planet. Well, we do have pyramids in more than 30 countries that I have visited on 6 continents. However, they were built in different periods, by different civilizations, by different materials. And my classification is the following. I'm not saying the Mayan pyramids, the Chinese pyramids, African pyramids, Nubian, no. I'm saying the true pyramids that there are energy amplifiers like Bosnian or Egyptian pyramids. And the second pyramids are replicas. They lost the knowledge over the time, so they were just much smaller and they were inferior from inferior materials. So that's my classification. The second question about the pyramids. Now, we know the bigger pyramid you make, it is going to resonate. Why? Because our planet resonates at 7.83 hertz. It's Schumann resonance. Von Schumann measured it 50 years ago. If you have resonance, and then you have such a huge structure, like the Great Pyramid of Egypt, or Bosnian, Chinese, or Peruvian, or Teotihuacan, they resonate. And not only that, they amplify the energies. What energies? Well, we have measured that. Below the Bosnian Pyramid of the Sun, we have huge iron plate. Iron generates electromagnetic field. The pyramid pulls this field up, amplifying it. How do we know? Because we have measured. at the base of the pyramid, at the top. At the top, the signal is 50 times stronger. Conclusion, pyramid is amplifier. And then below the pyramid, 21 meters, underground water flow. Water moves, releases negative ions. Pyramid amplifies the concentration of negative ions. How do we know? Because we have measured in the tunnels around the pyramids the highest concentration in the world. Number 3, there is another water flow 55 meters below. Between two water flows, there is a charge, voltage, electrical field. Pyramid pulls this field up and sending it to the very top as the energy beam. And we have measured it, 28 kilohertz frequency, which is electrical in nature. And then the next thing, we have discovered a lot of quartz crystal on the top of the pyramid, around it, and in the tunnels. And the quartz crystal has the ability to transform one form of the energy, electromagnetic field, to another one, ultrasound, through the process known to engineers as the piezoelectrical effect. So we measured 28 kilohertz frequency ultrasound in that energy beam. And then when we measured using drone the strength of this energy beam, we realize it's getting stronger and stronger and stronger as it moves away from the pyramid. And in science, these energy beams are called scalar waves or non-Hertzian waves or Tesla's energy fields, because our genius Nikola Tesla 125 years ago was researching those subtle energies. So now we explained the origin of the energy. What does the energy do? Where does it go? We have measured in the morning. This energy beam does not go 90 degrees to the sky. No. It is moved to the east. That's exactly where the sun rises in the morning. At the noontime, south. This is the location of the sun. Afternoon, southwest, evening, west. So this energy beam follows the path of our sun. Does it mean that our planet communicates with our sun? It's possible. And maybe through the sun as a cosmic gate with other solar systems, technically it is possible. But the pyramids are not only the transmitters of the energy, they work as the antennas. They receive the signals, they receive the energy. So there is a two-way energy flow. So yes, answer to your question is the pyramids are transmitters, the pyramids are receivers. What do they send out and receive? This, in a broad term, it is energy. What we measured, like I said, electromagnetic, electrical field, ultrasound, probably there are some more, but we don't have scientific instruments. We did not invent them. We don't know what kind of energy to measure. So, obviously, it was very advanced civilization. And finally, you know, if somebody was building this energy beam and pyramids, it means that our planet is point A. Where is we are point A? Where is point B? And where is point C? And where is point D? And now, all of a sudden, we are getting the cosmic network or cosmic internet.
Very interesting. So electromagnetic fields can attract and emit energy. So there is, would you say that this energy can also affect consciousnesses, of us, because we are now in the research of some kind of matrix, some kind of collective consciousness, photons is living here and there, and we don't know about time and space. What is your thoughts about this?
When I started this project, I thought it was an archaeological project. I was very into it, to dig and find those big blocks under the ground. But then with the time, I realized this is not an archaeological project. Tesla said that if you want to find out the secrets of the universe, you need to view it through the energy, frequency, and vibrations. And this is exactly the description of our project. Pyramids are energy amplifiers, generating very specific frequencies that affect our vibrations. They affect vibrations of the water. Now the water, the pyramid water, vibrates much higher. This is not what they taught us in schools, vibration or water. Everything is alive, water is alive. Water reacts to what is exposed to. If it is exposed to the good pyramid energy, it vibrates higher. It creates such a beautiful hexagonal shapes. If it is exposed to the bad words, to the very, uh, loud, heavy metal music, if it is exposed to the chemicals, it gets contaminated. The water changes the structure. The same thing goes with us. And we are 85% of the water. So it's very important what we are going to be exposed to. We're going to be looking at this magic box called television with all the bad news about the wars and criminals and the murders and fires. Or we go outside, we are in the nature, we listen to the birds, we talk to the other people, we share, we help, we support, instead of talking bad about them. So everything is about the vibrations. And the consciousness is part of that story. If we vibrate high, then we share, and love becomes binding elements around us. If we vibrate high, then all doors of energy fields, of knowledge, of consciousness are open to us. And guess what? The pyramid affects our vibrations. The pyramid affects development of our spiritual senses. So yes, there is very tight connection between the pyramids and their energy with the global consciousness.
Thank you. Let's go to the negative ions, because I don't know if many people know how negative ions can actually affect us. Can you tell us a little bit about that?
Yeah, gladly. The students of physiology at the Faculty of Medicine at universities, they teach about the benefits of negative ions. What are the negative ions? These are some extra electrons in atoms or molecules, mostly of oxygen molecules. So with extra electrons, they are negatively charged and they are free in the atmosphere. So what they need is something that's positive. And what's positive is a dust, virus, bacteria, fungi, pollen. It's positively charged. They are not positive for us. On the contrary, they are very bad to us. So negative ions connect to the positively charged microbes or dust or pollens. They become heavy and they drop to the floor. In other words, negative ions clear and clean the atmosphere from bad stuff. More negative ions, the atmosphere is healthier. That's one aspect. And then in contact with us, with our body, from the outside and from the inside, they clean our body from microbes also. During the Corona project, I was saying, hey, the Rane tunnels are the healthiest place on the planet. You come here, you don't have to worry about any virus. So what they do in our body, not only that they're clean from the microbes, but they affect 42 different functions in the body in a very positive way. They affect our blood pressure, the way that they release the pressure. You get inside 180 over 120, you come back outside 120 over 80. It gets normalized. Sugar in the blood. I've seen people bringing this little instrument. They would take a drop of blood before entering the tunnels, and it was 10.5. So it's the border between risky and diabetes. They come back in 45 minutes. Their blood level is 5.5. Normal. There is no medicine produced by pharmaceutical companies. They can reduce your blood level in 45 minutes for so much. And what's happening in tunnels, no counter, effects. So no bad, effects to your body. And then we've seen people with tumors. with very serious diseases. I don't even want to mention them. They come for 7 days, for 10 days. And negative ions, together with other pyramid energies, what they do, they start the regeneration process in our bodies. They start detoxification process. They start removing toxins, poisons from our body. So we've seen remarkable cases. Now, we always say, we are not in the healing business. We don't give medical guarantees, but we measure. And I just explained what we measure there. This is perfect regenerative environment. And good thing is, lately I started writing scientific articles accepted by double-blind, peer-review international scientific journals about rounded tunnels as a regenerative environment. And this is what's happening. And negative ions, as you asked, they play the vital, the major role in the tunnels.
Yeah. You know that many people might not know that the body is wanting to get healthy. It's a miraculous biomachine, biocomputer. As you said, if you release the toxins, if you release low vibration also in thoughts, you give space for the regeneration or the body to work in flow. That's my thought. Very interesting. And one of our guests was Dr. Yasuyuki Nemoto, which is my dear friend. He also worked with Dr. Emoto. Or maybe in the future we could have a common show in some way with you two. It would be very interesting. Let's go to the stone. There is a stone there saying something about now it's closed. And let's see what will happen in the future. Can you tell us a little bit
Yes,
about that?
yes, okay, gladly. Actually, two things. You just mentioned healing yourself. If we can affect water with our thoughts, with our mantras, with our words, it means we can affect our own body, which is mostly water. The previous civilizations, people were healing themselves with their thoughts. So this is very important. We have forgotten that, unfortunately. We can heal ourselves. Plus, you add plant medicine. People before, they were very smart. Okay, the second question is about the message that we found on one of the blocks. So in the tunnels, but also in the pyramids, in the last 20 years, we have collected a number of artifacts with certain symbols. So far, 51 symbols. And some of them, like those in the tunnels, they remind us, and actually they match the runic symbols or even Vincha symbols. These are the oldest symbols in Europe. If you go to non-scientific sites like Wikipedia, they will tell you, oh, runic writings is about 2000 or 1500 or 1000 years. No. They go back 7, 8, 9,000 years in the past. Why they are important? When it comes to the writing, this is my classification. The rudimentary level are the signs. For example, you make an arrow sign, go to the right. That's a sign. The second level is the alphabet. This is what we use, A, B, C, D. Letters mean nothing. But when you put 4 or 5 letters together, H-O-M-E, you got word home, and it has a meaning. The third level, above it, are the symbols. Every symbol has a meaning. When you put 2 symbols together, one has a meaning, another one has a meaning, but they also communicate to each other, producing a synergy, a third meaning. For example, my PhD is about the Mayan civilization. When they were putting symbols together, they were coming in sets of 4 symbols. 2 of them in first row, 2 of them in second row. The first 2 symbols, they communicate to each other, the second 2 symbols to each other, but also they were communicating upside down, the first row with the second row, and diagonally. In order to read just 4 symbols, you had to have PhD at that time. Now, runic symbols are similar. They had meaning. So what we have on one of the blocks are 8 symbols. 7 of them we deciphered. A professor from the US, Bobby Scarfi, she sent us decipherment, the translation of those 7 symbols. And the message goes like this. The gate has been closed. We are at the standstill. We will have to defend ourselves and conquer until the cosmic gate is open again. Now, just by looking those carvings, I can tell this is not the original builders. However, because the original builders, 30,000 years, this can be either, late Paleolithic or early Neolithic times. So now we are talking thousands and thousands of years back. So what is the message? They were trapped there. They could not, continue with their journey no more. And then we have received a second decipherment, which is very much like the first one, but it brings another element of water. As a matter of fact, it is said the big water. So because of the big water, it can be flood, maybe biblical flood. They were not able to move from the place. So what we have here in the Bosnian Pyramid project, we have actually several cultural layers. The original builders who were, masters because they built pyramids and the tunnels. Then second generations, maybe Neolithic or Paleolithic, they are getting inside, leaving the carvings, knowing the symbols about the energy and the water flow and spirituality. And then, of course, in the Middle Age, a little section was open, people were getting inside, and now we are here today in 21st century trying to close the tunnel that are filled with the filler material and see where all the tunnels lead us, the chambers, the energy flows. So very exciting, and once in a lifetime, you got the chance to really discover new stuff. When I see the archaeologists around the world, they send them to the already known sites. You go to this Roman cemetery or you go here, you already know everything about the site. Here, we know nothing. We need to discover by ourselves.
When I was there, I got an intuitive thought about cosmic cycles because I've been reading and lectured, and we have 26,000 year cycles, cosmic cycles of humanity, and then it starts again. But and I got a thought like, could it be that this cycle was the past cycle was closed? We don't know when, and people knew. Maybe they were mediamic, and they said, "Okay, now it's a time for new era, and now humanity." Oh, I shiver. Humanity has to forget to evolve from that level they need to be in, to forget the memory of past, living maybe in other galactic civilizations, but also in civilizations here. What is your thought about that?
Well, you are right. I would say there are several cycluses. Now, one of them you mentioned 26,000 years, or to be precise, there is something known like Platonic or cosmic a year, which lasts 25,920 years. The Mayan civilization, they have 5 long counts, and they would come close to 25,700 years. Of course, we can ask ourselves, how did they know that, number one, we live in the solar system, sun and the planets? Number two, how did they know that this solar system moves? And number three, how did they know that it moves inside our galaxy called Milky Way? They call it Hunab-Ku. And that this circle lasts almost 26,000 years. So this is one of the cycluses. But then there are cycluses that match global catastrophes. In the last 100,000 years, we have at least 5 such catastrophes. The one that hit us, the last one, was 11,700 years. People usually say 12,000 years back, that was the end of the last ice age. Yes, it was. And majority of the humanity perished. 99% of the people were gone. There were huge, not only floods, volcanic eruptions, earthquakes, and civilizations vanished. So we live simply in the last cycle of humanity. Before that, we had a cycle between 12,000 and 18,500 years back. And then before that, 34,000. It is said that 34,000 years back, there were huge solar flames burning the surface of the planet, killing so many people. And before that, 54,500 years ago, it was something like thermal nuclear war. And we can see that in some cases like Harappa, Mohenjo-Daro civilization, today Pakistan and India, the whole cities vanished because of temperature more than 1,000 degrees. That can be, released only by such, nuclear or thermal nuclear weapons. And even huge areas with the civilizations like what we know today as Gobi Desert in Central Asia was destroyed. And then the last one was 75,000 years back. That was a huge volcanic eruption in Indonesia when for hundreds of years you could not see the blue sky because of the volcanic dust. At that time, only 1,000 people survived that catastrophe. So that 1,000 people are, people who brought us. So we are descendants of that very small group of people. So you see how, they teach us in school that human history is linear. Before we were primitive, today we are the most intelligent, the most beautiful, the most advanced. No, history of humanity is cycle after cycle after cycle. So we have to accept that. In the previous cycles, we have very advanced civilizations. Not only advanced civilizations, because we have probably at the same time, we had people who were very primitive. It's like today, if you go to Amazon, in the middle of the Amazon, we will meet people who live in the Paleolithic times, in the Stone Age. If you go to Papua New Guinea and you show them your mobile phones, they won't know what to do with that. So you always had, I would say, on this planet, advanced and primitive. Well, today, majority is, let's say, advanced. But before, most probably, minority was advanced, building huge, mostly stone, megalithic structures, including pyramids, and majority were at the primitive level. So it will take a lot of time that, cultural establishment accept that. But because of so much scientific evidence, it is going to happen. So to answer your question, yes, I agree. In the past, we had different cycles that would affect humanity and other civilizations living on the surface of the planet. And yes, and sometimes those catastrophes, like natural catastrophes, they are imminent. You cannot avoid them. You cannot fight the nature because our planet, our mother planet, is much stronger than what we think.
Yeah. So megaliths, can you explain the megaliths for the viewers? And my knowledge is that stones can hold also energy, and also water can be a bearer of information. So this is interconnected, I might think. Yeah. What is your thoughts about that?
In the tunnels, we have been discovering a number of big blocks. They are light brown color, which we have analyzed. We sent samples to Institute for Atomic Physics. They have done very sophisticated analysis, Röntgen diffraction analysis, and phased analysis. Röntgen diffraction, we can see through the material, and phased, we can see if the material that this block consists of, if they are from different phases. If they are, it means somebody put them together. And both analyses have proven that those blocks are actually ceramic blocks. Ceramic meaning they've been artificially made. So in there, we have sandstone, we have clay, we have quartz crystal, and we have muscovite. Muscovite is very interesting mineral. Some people are saying muscovite actually affects the passage of time. And the quartz crystal, as I mentioned before, it transforms the energy, but also it amplifies the energy. And also what you just mentioned, it holds the memory. It can store the information. You know, nowadays we are silicon-based civilization. You know, computers, laptops, mostly it's silicon-based. But the future is not silicon, but quartz crystal, because quartz crystal can store thousands of times more information than silicon-based, technology. So tiny pieces, it's microparticles can store so much more, so many thousands times more terabytes than what silicon-based can do that. How did ancients know that? I don't know. I mean, they are simply smart, and probably they went through the very long period of the evolution. And of course, we have to answer the question, who were those civilizations? And again, I don't know. David, I've been traveling around the world. I've been researching pyramids, megalithic sites for 45 years. And I can sincerely say, I know almost nothing. If you ask me who built the Egyptian pyramids, I don't know. 28 biggest pyramids, they assign them to the pharaohs, Khufu and Khafre and Mykerinos and Sneferu and Djoser, and they have nothing to do with those pyramids. They had no knowledge to build them. They had no tools. They had no transportation means. They had no astronomical knowledge, mathematical knowledge, knowledge of elements of sacred geometry. They did not have it. Who built them? I don't know. Who built Bosnian pyramids? We can admire the amount of knowledge they had. But I don't know how the builders look like, if they are humans or not, if there are beings from different dimensions around us, if there are beings from different planets outside of this world, if there are beings from the inner earth. I don't know. So my knowledge is so modest and so weak. But then, if we already knew everything, then the science would not exist anymore. We would just close our books. Okay, we know everything. That's the end of civilization. And we know so little.
Have you personally had any, experience which you couldn't explain, like seeing something or seeing, because for myself, I've seen into other dimensions, so I don't doubt anything about other dimensions. So, but I understand other people who doesn't have, they just know this, they haven't seen it, and the science is not there yet, but coming. Okay, let's hear.
In our life, we rely on our 5 physical senses. We can see, we can hear, we can smell, we can taste, and we can touch. 5 physical senses. But they are so limited. And physical senses describe our physical world. But beyond this physical world, there is such a complex, let's call it spiritual world or energetical world. What we can see are just those 7 colors, their frequencies. Red is the lowest frequency, orange, yellow, green, blue, violet, indigo and violet. 7 colors, and they are 0.7% of all color frequencies in the world. 0.7. So we don't see 99.3%. So we are blind, even though we have eyes. What we can hear is called sound. We hear from 20 hertz to 20 kilohertz. We cannot hear 25 kilohertz. It's called ultrasound. We cannot hear megahertz. We cannot hear gigahertz. We cannot hear very deep sounds. 5 hertz or 3 hertz, infrasound. So we are deaf. We hear only 1% of the sounds. So our physical reality is so limited. But imagine if we could develop some of our 30 spiritual senses. We could see more, we could hear more, we could smell more, we could feel the energies. We could feel the energies, we could see the colors of the energies, we could exchange thoughts, telepathy, spiritual sense. We could, with our mind, power of our mind, move the object, telekinesis, spiritual sense. We have the ability, nobody teaching us to develop them. We could move through space and time. We could become aware that we have a soul. And body is one thing, soul is another. Body is for one use only. Very important also. We have to treat it as a temple. But soul is the thing that lasts. Soul has its own intelligence. You know, people having clinical death, they describe, you know, I was on that, you know, surgical table, and then for 5 minutes I was clinically dead. My soul got out of my body, and I was looking down. I could see my body. I could see doctors. I could hear medical nurses. And I was thinking, who am I? I'm not the body, obviously, because I'm thinking. I'm the soul. I have my own intelligence. I have my own senses because I can see, I can hear, I can move through the walls, I can move through the time. And then we realize we are soul, and then we last forever. And if we last forever, why should we fear in this lifetime? And this is what exactly media is teaching us. Fear this, fear that, fear God, fear politician, fear losing the job, fear professors, fear. We should not fear once we realize that we are forever. One thing. And the other thing, once we realize that our soul can move with no limits, we come exactly to the definition of freedom. No limits equals freedom. We are free. If you and I are free, then we can affect other people. 50 people around us will become free. 50,000 and 5 billion people. Imagine our planet with the free souls, with the free people. There will be no hunger anymore. There will be no fear anymore. Different energy sources, clean, unlimited, and free, like Tesla envisioned. We don't follow the politicians. We don't follow those monsters who call themselves elites, who tell us how to live, where to work, what to fear. No, no, no. Once we come to the true spirituality, and this is what I'm talking about, then we would realize that we should live this life experience differently. And guess what? Pyramid energy affects our spirituality. So you see how this project in Bosnia went all the way from the pure archaeology to science and energy and healing, and then with our beautiful park, with the culture and with the spirituality and yoga and meditation and the festivals and the sports. Novak Djokovic opened our, tennis stadium. And like I said in one of the first sentences, this project is about different concept of living. We don't follow new Western values, transhumanism, upgraded human, biochip under the skin. Oh, it's very convenient. We can pay our bills. We can open our doors with the biochip from here. Digital money, losing freedom. GMO trash, which they call GMO food. Poisoned water. No, we are talking about people living in harmony amongst us, living in harmony with the nature.
So good words. I also wonder, many people around the world are talking about inner earth, Agartha. You have been talking a little bit about other dimensions and extraterrestrials, galactic civilizations. But inner earth, Agartha, Shambhala, we have Mount Shasta also with a lot of mystics, with fifth dimensional people. Uh, you know, what what is your thoughts about inner Earth, Agartha? Maybe there are tunnels between, Gobi Desert to Scandinavia and other. You could actually travel like a train there, but not everybody can be there. Maybe Bermuda, there's a lot of mystics going into other dimension there, maybe inside the Earth. Let us hear your thoughts and also connect it a little bit with extraterrestrials, Yeah, thank you.
Now, when we talk about travel, we can travel using our physical body, going from point A to point B. The second one is astral projection, our astral, our twin, but it is more energetical. Astral can also do travels, but generally astrals are connected to our body. And eventually, once our body is dead, our astral disappears. And number three, the soul traveling. The soul does not have any limits, as we concluded. So the question is, can some of our forms, some of our entities travel inside the earth to the inner earth and see if some of the stories about the existence, about the inner sun and civilization, different civilizations, different beings inside our planet are truthful or not? Well, probably on a soul level, we could do that if we can control the movement of our soul. Is it possible that we have, like you said, Agartha or Shambhala or inner earth? I think it is possible because the stories from, turn of the centuries, from the 19th to 20th centuries, going to the both poles, north and south, especially Antarctica, even later on in 1930s with the Nazis and so on, about the possibility that there was an opening on both ends of our planet, and you are getting from a very cold environment to a very warm environment with dense vegetation, with different species. Some of them don't live on the surface of the planet no more. We have those stories, but today it's very hard to independently verify because it was said that those openings are closed now. But that beings inside are still watching us, and they are very disturbed by the fact that we use nuclear weapons. Now, I'll give you my personal account. A few years back, I was doing Kailash Kora. Kailash is the holy mountain in western Tibet, holy for the Buddhist, for Hindu, for 4 different religions there. And people want to do Kora, that is walking around it. Huge mountain. Mountain is 6,500 meters above the sea level. And nobody conquered it yet. They could, but it's holy mountain, and the people don't allow, mountaineer to conquer it. But anyway, I was doing the Kailash Kora, and then one time I stayed there for 12 days. One time I was looking at the Kailash, and Kailash is a 4-sided mountain. It's not a perfectly regular pyramid like Bosnia, and you have triangular faces. It has 4 sides, and they are very regularly oriented to the cardinal points, east, west, north, south. But much lower below, I could count 10 smaller mountains. Some of them, they look like step pyramid, and some of them like true pyramids. And, I have this focused meditation that I have developed over a few decades. I was asking myself, are these pyramids giving the energy to Mount Kailash? The answer was yes. And then I was asking another question. There are stories about Shambhala below the Kailash. Is it true? The answer was yes, there is a civilization there. Extremely old. We are talking about 5 million years. And they are not like we are human in the physical bodies. They are different entities. I said, okay, do they affect processes on the planet? The answer was yes. What kind of processes? Spiritual processes. All right, how do they do that? They send like the energy flow, huge energy flow between Kailash and the mountain below, next to it, through the valley, energy flow circling the planet, affecting the consciousness, or at least the people they need to affect. Now, whether to believe that or not, but these were some of the messages that I was receiving. They don't have to be truthful, but if we don't look for the other ways, if we are not open to different experiences, there is no development.
No, I agree totally with you. And hopefully we can go together to Inner Earth someday, by soul or body. Let's see what the future has planned for us. But Dr. Sam, thank you very much for coming here. It has been a great episode, and I think we have gone through so many different aspects of human evolution, history, mythology, human body, human health, human consciousness, and also how we take care of the earth, how we become more evolved so we can be the protector, the real protectors of earth, and how we can use everything we have around us in a constructive way. I think you have talked about everything about that, and it's a great show for people to see. I hope to talk to you again, and we could talk for hours. But it's time to finish this episode. And and I want to thank you from the bottom of my heart. It has been so interesting, and to also reflect together. This is what people have needs to do in life, and be able to talk about everything. So, thank you again, and hope to see you soon. Okay.
All right, thank you very much.
Do you want to say something? Your last.
Of
Yeah.
course,
Thank
I
you.
want to
Thank you.
invite people to come to visit the Bosnian pyramids, and they will realize that there is a paradise on earth.
Yes, it is. Thank you very much. And there will be many more episodes, and you are so welcome to come back for another episode. Okay,
Thanks a
bye
lot.
bye, everybody.